Yo folks, welcome to the channel. In today's video, we'll be covering the best upcoming gacha for 2023. These are my favorite titles that I could possibly procure. Let's jump right into this. First things, Girls Frontline 2 Exile or Exilium. This we talked about. It's going to have that XCOM tactical RPG gameplay. It's going to scratch that itch in case you guys were curious about it. I hope it's going to be releasing in 2023. It's going to have a PC and mobile client, which is going to be amazing. I love how gacha games are doing that lately, and it's going to be monumentally difficult just checking out what's being viewed via the gameplay. So I'm really excited. Hopefully it actually releases in 2023. Regardless of the fact, I think this is going to be one of the best entries into the Girls Frontline series. Next up, we have Arknights Endsfield. Now, I'm super hyped for this one because we haven't had an Arknights game that deviates from the tower defense formula. So if we can get that open world RPG mechanic down right, I think it's going to hit a different audience, and it's going to make Arknights even more expansive as a franchise, as a series. And I'm really all about it because the Arknights IP has been handled with care, and it's been really good to see the anime. So for it to get like this more open world setting, and just to get a different viewpoint on how this world is going to interact with the overarching series, I'm really interested. Arknights Endsfield, hopefully 2023. Next up is Astris. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because it's also going to be by Hypergriff. I believe that's going to be the similar faction who brought us Arknights. And the reason why I'm interested is because it seems like a tech demo or the series before Arknights Endsfield. And maybe this is the game that will release before Endsfield. And this is how we're going to see how Arknights Endsfield is going to play out. And I think the reason why it's also going to be interesting is because it's going to have that open world sort of mechanic, or at least, you know, that overworld gameplay that's different from the tower defense RPGs that we're known like Hypergriff releases. So we'll see how this comes out over the coming months. It's been really quiet, but for the most part, it's either Endsfield or Astris. These are the two games that I'm really excited for. Next up is Aether Gazer. A little quiet on this one, but Yostar said that they want to release this in 2023 so they can do better promotions. I think this is going to be another Honkai Impact 3rd Punishing Gray Raven. Going to change up the formula in some ways, but overall, I think Yostar is a pretty great publisher, and that's the reason why I'm greatly interested in seeing how this one flows. But more to come. Super excited for 2023 on this one, that's for sure. And then we have Prometheus. Now, this was brought to me by Chaotic, like his videos and whatnot. And the reason why I'm talking about it is because it has a different art style, a different viewpoint to it. And I just wanted something that's more pixelized, but, you know, not your standard turn-based RPG gacha game, but something like this just looks absolutely phenomenal. It has that Paper Mario feel, which I loved and grew up with on the N64. And I'm curious as to if it will play that way, or if we're just gonna get something entirely different, something new in the gacha space that I've just been greatly looking forward to. Next up, we have the One Piece Dream Pointer. Now, this game was talked about months ago, and the only reason why I love it so much is because it has that 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross feel to it, or gameplay. And I've been wanting a 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross style gameplay in any other IP, in any other gameplay format. The only thing that has me worried about this game is that I don't think it will release just because it copies that formula, and Netmarble might sue the crap of whatever CN company is trying to release this game. But at the end of the day, I'm really excited for One Piece Dream Pointer, and I want it to release so bad because I think it could be something special. Next up on the block, we have Wuthering Waves, produced by Kuro Games, or created and developed by Kuro Games. I love to see that. And the reason why I'm hyped for this one, it probably has the best combat feel that I can get out of any of the gacha games within the list. And that's mostly because Kuro Games created Punishing Gray Raven, which I think is still one of the best action RPGs we have on our mobile devices. It has that tactile feel, it has insane dodge mechanics and combos, and of course, like, the switching mechanics is seamless and smooth. So Wuthering Waves takes that up a notch by being in an open world, or at least in a more expansive world where there's not going to be any, you know, sort of instance-based combat or instance-based stage scenarios. And the fact that we can see gameplay of like the bosses in this way, where there's different mechanics mechanics. It sort of reminds me of, you know, the Monster Hunter feel, maybe Dark Soul-esque expanse to it. But at the end of the day, I love the parries. I love like all the different things that we can get and see out of Wuthering Waves and what Kuro Games produces. So I'm really excited to see how this is all going to flow. Hopefully we'll see a 2023 release, because it's definitely looking like they're making a lot of progress on the headways of the games. Next up, we have Eversoul. Now, the only reason why I'm even covering Eversoul, even though it has simplistic gameplay, is because it reminds me a lot of Princess Connect. And I've been looking for a game that's fairly similar to Princess Connect, you know, that auto RPG, one button style sort of thing, where a lot of your maximization comes from the fact of setting your party and knowing how to arrange units in a way so that you get like the most optimum combat. And I just want something a little bit simplistic, and I feel like Eversoul might be able to provide that. And this is going to be by Cacao Games, who, you know, has Guardian Tales under their belt, and that's been pretty great so far. So Eversoul, I'm looking forward to it, hopefully in 2023, but it's also guaranteed for January in some ways from articles I've read. Next up, Reverse 1999. Now this is going to be more of your typical turn-based RPG, but what I like about it is the fact that its scenario is more, you know, Sherlock Holmes. It's in that old time history, and I want to see if that's going to be good, if it's going to be hit or miss. But not to mention, a lot of the characterizations and the faces that you see, it's iconic. It's one of those things where it's simplistic, but at the same time, so much detail, where I can just see a lot of different quality mechanics that not a lot of gacha games are willing to implement, because the production value doesn't really equate to the fact that, hey, this is going to be a good game. Because sometimes when you focus too much on cutscenes, the gameplay can fall. I think this can support both the cutscene and the gameplay, so I'm really excited for Reverse 1999. We'll see how it goes. 2023, it is still looking really good, that's for sure. Then we have something different with Project Snow. Now, the reason why I want to cover this is because it's the only shooter gacha with waifus in it that has me interested so far. And I think it could be something special if it could hit that branded audience appropriately. And there's not a lot of gacha games that can, you know, pull this off appropriately. So it reminds me, of course, of something like, you know, Honkai Impact 3rd, except it's purely more shooter mechanics. But I think what has me more excited is the fact that it's a pure shooter, and it's going to be a little bit different from your standard action RPG, where it's just swords and lances and all the different things that we normally see. Here, a focus purely on like the shooter mechanics. I am interested. Maybe there's going to be a battle royale sort of thing going on here too. I could see that. But all the shooting mechanics and the things that I've been seeing, the RPGs, I've been enjoying it. So Project Snow, I want to keep it on your guys' radar in case you guys are interested in something a little bit different. And then we have Dragon Blaze 2. I've talked about this consistently over the past couple of months, and I think this is going to be, you know, the next Dragon's Crown, or that beautiful 2D RPG that has just a different art style that I just really wanted to see on our mobile devices. Something that's not normal, and I really like that. Something to just spice things up from the normal formula. So we'll see how Dragon Blaze 2 goes, because I think it could be something special with the appropriate marketing and, you know, the approach that has it sort of a dark fantasy, Dark Souls sort of feel. Obviously, the combat is not a Souls-like, but I just love the dark fantasy setting. It reminds me of Berserk as well in some ways, and I think there's a lot of inspiration in that way. Next up is going to be Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. I've been talking about this on, you know, extensive like gameplays and all this stuff. And I think it could be something cool for the Final Fantasy VII fans. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core has been re-released and remastered, so it sort of makes sense for Ever Crisis to get a release. Hopefully sometime in 2023. I know the dates have been changed. Maybe this like stealth launches in December as well, or as a CBT. That would be really cool. Also, shout out to my favorite character, Zack. But we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis. Next up, we have Takt.op. Now, I believe this is going to be a JP Pure release. All the previous titles that I've talked about previously or before, I believe those are going to have more extensive global releases. Takt.op is like the one JP release that I wanted to talk about because the waifus are sort of iconic with this one, and I really love the 2D RPG mechanics to it. And I think it provides something special with the way the waifus look, which is, of course, at plain value, not the best way to describe a game, but the detail and the eyes and everything about it, I just fall in love every single time I see it. So Takt.op, there we go. Hopefully it's going to be releasing in 2023. I love it. Then Limbus Company. This is probably going to be my favorite puzzle RPG of 2023 because I played Library of Ruina and that kicked my butt. And Project Moon, they are known for making such grindy and heavy RPG stylized games. You will play their games and you'll be like, what is going on? Like, I'm grinding, but I don't feel it. And I think Limbus Company is going to be something special on our phones. It's not going to be your typical waifu, like sort of cash grab IP. Limbus Company is going to hook you in based off of the mechanics and in-depth gameplay. So if you want something like that's going to have like a strong hold on like just understanding the mechanics, and you know how like Epic 7 had like the different gear formats and so many different ways to tackle a PvP match, think of that except purely PvE within Limbus Company. I'm sure there's going to be PvP mechanics, hopefully, just to have like more long-standing. Project Moon is just really good about producing such a crazy difficult game with enough balance for you to understand in all the different layers and just break it down to a point where, wow, this is a good RPG and I can't believe I'm actually playing this and understanding it. I'm really looking forward to Limbus Company. Project Moon people, you guys know, all right? You guys know. Next up, Harry Potter Magic Awakened. I have been talking about this game as well for an extensive period of time, and that's only because I think it's going to do well with its like card-based mechanics and not to mention real-time gameplay. I think it's just going to be something special because there's not anything like this currently on our phone devices that people like. Obviously, people don't like the fact that there's not enough waifus, there's not enough, anime and stuff like that, but I feel like it's just gonna hit the markets running, especially, once people like see what it actually has as far as gameplay and like the PvP mechanics onto it. Of course, we gotta talk about Solo Leveling. This has to be the most heavily stylized and hyped webtoons that we have had in our markets. And the reason why I talk about it is because this is beautiful. It's great. And it has the style and flair and power fantasy and audience that could be built up based off of the anime. And we have to talk about it as one of the top games for 2023. Next up is going to be Jujutsu Kaisen Phantom Parade. The only thing I have to say is don't be an IP cash grab. I love the Jujutsu Kaisen series. I think it could be something special, and it definitely has the makings of a great game so long as they fix the UI, so long as the monetization is fair. I think it can be carried just alone based off of the IP. Just don't milk your players. That's all I have to say with like these sort of games, right? Speaking of milking your players, we have Black Clover Mobile, which is getting its, beta test right now, and a lot of hiccups on the monetization fronts that people are afraid of. Gameplay wise, I am insanely excited. I think this is one of the most beautiful games in 2023. That's like a reoccurring thing on my list for 2023 is like, there's so many games that just look really beautiful or just introduce some sort of mechanic that's a little bit different. But Black Clover stays on the formula of turn-based RPGs as far as I am concerned, and I'm okay with that so long as the monetization is good, because it nails everything on the mark. It doesn't do anything different, but at the same time, I feel like it can go above and beyond so long as it stays within a certain monetization range. That's all I gotta say with this one. Then we got 7 Deadly Sins Origin. If you have not seen it, this is by far one of the most open world Breath of the Wild inspired sort of games, Genshin Impact, whatever you want to call it. And it is featuring Meliodas' son. I'm forgetting his name. I know like Lancelot is in it and all like the fabled characters from, the Arthurian series. And what has me hype about this one is the fact that 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross is such an insane game. And I'm hoping 7 Deadly Sins Origin or 7 Deadly Origins, I don't know what to call this, is going to be really great in all of its glory. And I just want this game to be out because it holds something special based off of the graphics and what we can see. Hopefully what we're seeing is also not fake and it's an actual gameplay format, because to me it looks that good. Like the water and everything just looks absolutely insane, and I'm definitely excited to play this one. And of course, we gotta talk about the heavy hitters from Hoyoverse, Zenless Zone Zero. That's gonna be the first title, and it's gonna be more of your roguelike dungeon-themed gameplay. A lot of things inspired by Honkai Impact 3rd, but it's gonna be in a more, I don't know, streetwear, cyberpunky feel like setting, and I really like that just because I've wanted this world and I didn't know I wanted this world. Hoyoverse has something crazy about them where it's like, we're gonna introduce like this streetwear, cyberware sort of arena and gameplay, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna love the soundtrack, and I do. I like everything about it. It's so stylistic. I'm hoping it releases in 2023, but I have an inkling that it's gonna release a little bit later because we know what's actually going to be coming in 2023. The real game that we've been talking about extensively, and that's going to be Honkai Star Rail, the turn-based RPG that I've been waiting for in insane lengths of time. I played the CBTs, I enjoyed it. I think this is going to hit a fairly niche audience. I do not think it's going to be like Genshin Impact levels of popularity, mostly because it is going to be a turn-based RPG. But hey, if Hoyoverse can market it right and do everything that Genshin Impact has done in the way that they support their fan base, then I feel like this is going to be something special, because it's definitely going to have more, hopefully, in-depth gameplay and longer periods of endgame compared to Genshin Impact, where they're aiming for a particular audience where it's more of general, like everyone can enjoy it. I think Honkai Star Rail is going to be particular, it's going to be difficult, and it's going to be insane. That's what the hope and premise is for Honkai Star Rail, and it's the game that I am most hyped for in 2023. Everything else is just a random list of games. Kafka's her name, and she provides heavy Makima vibes, and yeah, I like that in its own rights. If you know what I mean, the history of Makima is interesting. But yeah, those are going to be my favorite games that I've been seeing for 2023. I want all of these to release, or at least a handful of them, and I want all of them to be amazing. I want 2023 to be the year of Gacha. 2022 is already pretty amazing if you think about it in all of its glory. It's been a crazy year, but we'll do the reviews for 2022 a little bit later. 2023 though is looking hype. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited for 2023, because there are so many amazing things coming around the corner, and you never know. Eversoul, next Princess Connect, I'm all about it. But anyways, if you made it this far in today's video, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram if you want to see workouts and what I do in real life. I'm gonna be in Thailand. This is gonna be the first of videos where I'm no longer home. Like, I'm gone. Hopefully I'm still alive, hopefully I'm breathing, and if not, that sucks. But once we hit 40k subs, we're doing a giveaway. Thanks so much for watching today's video and all the support you guys give me. It helps me so much to continue on this path. But yeah, have yourself a fantastic day, and see you guys in the next one.